Hi there, beautiful people, and welcome back to another episode of My Life in Heels. I'm your host, Tiffany Scott, and this is the podcast where we talk about gender expression, identity, cross-dressing, and everything in between, from stilettos to self-discovery. Today's episode is one that I think every one of us needs to hear at some point, whether you're stepping out as your femme self for the first time, or you've been living authentically for years. It's called dressing for confidence, not approval. Let's be honest, approval can be addictive. We all crave acceptance. But sometimes the need for external validation can slowly chip away at our own confidence. So today we're going to talk about what it means to dress for yourself, not for the comfort or expectations of others. Let's start with the hard truth. So many of us grow up taught that we have to pass as cis, as binary, as straight, as something we're not, in order to be safe, in order to be liked, and in order to be seen. So whether you identify as a cross-dresser, transgender, non-binary, or gender fluid, or just human experimenting with your style, there's often this invisible pressure to look convincing. But let's be real, approval can become a trap. You keep chasing it, you start dressing less for you and more for the validation from others. Suddenly, your outfit isn't about how you feel. It's about whether some stranger in the street thinks that you look feminine enough. And that's exhausting. Be the best version of you, dress for you, and dress to be happy. Have you ever been in a bar? You've been there for a while, then suddenly you realise there's other dresses there. Did you take so long to notice them because they passed? Or did you not notice them because they're dressed in a dowdy fashion? Some girls wear dark clothing and less makeup because they want to go under the radar. And if that works for them, that's fine. But some girls want to make a statement and express themselves. So I want to say this clearly. You do not need to pass to be powerful. You do not need to meet somebody else's expectations of femininity or even masculinity to deserve respect or confidence or joy. Confidence should not be a costume. It should be a feeling that comes from inside you because you're honouring your true self. Let me tell you a quick story. A few years ago, my then boyfriend took me out for a drink. We went to a gay bar. I like to pick my venues where I feel comfortable. And we'd been in about 20 minutes. I was enjoying a glass of wine. And I suddenly realised there were 3 tea-girls sitting behind me with a woman at the table. The reason I hadn't noticed them wasn't because they passed. It was because they all had on dark clothing and dark hair. It was as if they were in camouflage. I was a blonde in leopard print heels, so people noticed me. I didn't pass, but I didn't care either. So ask yourself, are you dressing to be seen? Or are you dressing to be approved? There's a big difference. So let me say this, you're not a mannequin for public approval. You are a whole person with nuance, history, beauty and power. It's absolutely okay if you want to look good. We all want to feel cute, sexy, desirable and powerful, whatever that means for us. But when you only dress to avoid judgment or get praise, it starts to disconnect you from your own joy. So instead of asking, will I pass? Will I blend in? Try asking, does this feel true? Does this reflect who I am right now? Am I dressing for approval or am I dressing for joy? Whoever joy is. Fashion should be a form of freedom, not a filter for somebody else's comfort. Clothes are powerful, they can affirm who we are. They can also become armour and a performance. And while that's sometimes necessary to survive or feel safe, but I want to invite you to make a style conversation with yourself, not a performance for others. Your look will develop over time. You'll develop a sense of what colours will work for you and what styles of clothing suit you best. If you're athletic, you'll probably look great in a bodycon dress. But if you're a bit bigger, you'll realise that other styles will work best for you. My best tip is dress your age. You see many classy looking older women, so don't fall into the trap of dressing like a 20-year-old, especially if you don't have the shape for it. Wear what lights you up. I love a nice dress and hot heels. You might have noticed. But if you prefer trousers and kitten heels, that's entirely up to you. Just go for that. But be aware of fashion trends. You don't need to dress like a grandma to be comfortable. Wear the lipstick that makes you feel electric. Wear the heels that click when you walk and make you feel unstoppable. Not because somebody else thinks you should. Confidence doesn't come from their gaze, it comes from within. Let's talk practical for a moment. Here's a few things that help me, and perhaps they might help you too. Start where you feel safe. Confidence is a muscle that can be trained. You don't have to go full glam from day one. Maybe it starts from painting your nails at home. Maybe it's as simple as wearing a Femme top under a hoodie. That counts. If you go out, pick your venues. Maybe start with a club or a gay bar. As you get more confident, you'll naturally start to feel more comfortable in regular venues. Most people are nice, especially younger females. What young girl doesn't want a TV friend? Women are quite often happy to chat with you about your dress and your outfit. I've had a few nice compliments from ladies. I was out one night and one woman said, "I've got that dress." And I was like, "Oh dear." And she said, "It looks better on you." That's the type of thing that makes you nice. Start with comfort. Not just physical comfort, but emotional. What makes you feel grounded and real? That's your starting point. If you wear something that's too short or too revealing, it's just going to add to the anxiety. If you have a nice fitting dress, you'll feel good and you'll look good too. Remember to affirm yourself before you go out. Seriously, stand in front of a mirror and say something nice to yourself. Not, "Do I look passable?" Say something like, "Wow, you look gorgeous." And remember to smile. We all look better with a smile on our face. Stop following people who make you feel as if you're not enough. This includes influencers, fashion brands, and even friends. Curate your space, not just your wardrobe. Ditch those that create negativity. You want to glow, not hide in the shadows. Own your own look, even if it's messy. You might smudge your lipstick. Your wig might shift. But guess what? You're still valid, you're still worthy, you're still fabulous. Perfection is overrated and authenticity is magnetic. You don't have to be a catwalk queen. You can be a rock chick, or maybe a goth, or just fabulous in denim. Practice, practice, practice. Confidence builds with repetition. You don't just arrive one day. It's an evolving journey. And every time you step out, you take one more powerful step forward. So try changes subtly over time. It's an evolving journey, and it's your particular journey. Remember to walk with your head held high. If you look like you're a bit shifty and nervous, people tend to notice you. But if you look confident, like you should be there, people don't tend to pay attention. You can still be nervous, the trick is not to show it. Think of a swan swimming serenely along the river, looking very elegant. But underneath, little legs go 19 to the dozen. There's so much noise out there trying to tell us how we should look. But here's the thing, you have everything you need to be fabulous right now. Whether you're in thigh-high boots, a sundress, or comfy pants with painted toes, you're expressing you, and that's all that matters. And if nobody else tells you this today, let me be the one. You do not need to earn confidence through conformity. You do not need anybody else's permission to show up. When was the moment you realised you were dressing for yourself and not for somebody else? Perhaps you still try to go under the radar. Or are you utterly fabulous? Send me an email. Might even share your story in another episode. Alright friends, that's it for today's episode of My Life in Heels. But before I wrap up, I just want to remind you, approval fades, confidence lasts. Dress like you mean it. Dress like you own it. Because you do. I'm Tiffany Scott, and whether you're stomping in boots or strutting in stilettos, you're walking your truth one step at a time. Until next time, be bold, be kind, and never forget, your heels are made for much more than walking.